The Fall. My name is Ethan Cole. I'm 32 years old, and for the last 8 years, I've worked at Apex Innovations. 8 years. I went from a bright-eyed college grad to the director of engineering. I gave this company my youth, pulling all-nighters, saving failing projects, and steering us through countless crises. I thought I was indispensable. That illusion shattered on a gloomy Monday morning in Seattle. Ethan, my office. Now, the new VP of engineering, Frank Wagner, was standing by my desk, his tone as cold as the coffee on my desk. I set down a code I was reviewing and followed him. Sarah Jenkins, the director of HR, was already inside, a professionally vacant smile plastered on her face. "Sit," Frank said, pointing to a chair. He leaned against his oversized desk, looking down on me. A knot formed in my stomach, but I kept my voice steady. "Frank, Sarah, what's this about?" "Ethan," Sarah began, opening a file folder. "After a comprehensive review, the company has determined that your performance is not meeting our current expectations." "What?" I thought I'd misheard. "I just led the team through the cloud platform overhaul last quarter. We saved the company $30 million in overhead and boosted user experience by 40%. That was then," Frank cut in, his voice sharp. "The company needs a more aggressive hustle culture now. We need killers. You've gotten complacent, Ethan. You lost your edge." I almost laughed. Complacent? I had worked until 2 in the morning every day for the last 3 months. I hadn't taken a single weekend off. That's complacent. "Can you specify which areas need improvement?" "I'm willing to adapt," I said, forcing the anger down. Sarah pushed her glasses up her nose. "For example, you missed the mandatory team-building retreat last week. You cited a work emergency. That shows a clear lack of team spirit." "There was a critical system failure," I countered. "If I hadn't handled it, it would have affected millions of users." "Too many reasons sound like excuses," Frank said flatly. "Furthermore, one of your direct reports, Kevin, mentioned you're often on your phone during work hours. It's hurting team morale." Kevin, the kid who'd been here 3 months, could barely write a clean line of code, and only got hired because he was Frank's college buddy? "Frank." I was on my phone, responding to urgent work messages. "Enough." Frank slammed his hand on the desk. "The decision has been made. You're terminated, effective immediately." "Terminated?" I stood up. "Under state employment law, you can't fire me without cause without a severance package." "Without cause?" Sarah scoffed. "Your negative attitude and poor team engagement are the cause. Besides," she paused for effect, "your performance review from last year was a meets expectations. Company policy states that 2 consecutive years of that rating are ground for dismissal. My review last year was exceeds expectations." I practically shouted. "The system says otherwise," Sarah said with a shrug. "Perhaps you're misremembering." I saw it then. It was a setup. It had been a setup from the day Frank was hired above me. He needed to bring in his own guys, and I, the old guard, was in his way. "I'll be filing a wrongful termination suit," I said, my voice low and even. "Be my guest," Frank sneered. "But I'll remind you, Apex Innovations' legal team will eat you for lunch." And he added, his eyes narrowing, "The tech world is smaller than you think. Are you sure you want to burn this bridge?" A threat. A naked threat. I took a deep breath and turned to leave. "One more thing," Sarah called out. "Your laptop, key card, and company ID. Hand them over now. Security will escort you to your desk. You have 30 minutes to pack up and leave the premises." 30 minutes. 8 years of my life, gone in 30 minutes. I packed my things in a daze. My colleagues kept their heads down, refusing to make eye contact. Only Hemlock, from the team next to mine, shuffled over. "Ethan, this is bullshit," he whispered. "It's fine," I managed, forcing a smile. "That Wagner is a snake," Hemlock muttered. "He pushed out Dave from engineering last month, said he wasn't pulling his weight. Dave practically built this company's back end." The security guard tapped his watch impatiently. "Let's go." Chop chop. Clutching a cardboard box, I took one last look at the place where I had poured my entire professional life. I once thought of it as a second home. Outside, a light drizzle began to fall. I stood on the sidewalk, letting the rain mix with the sudden, cold sweat on my face. My phone buzzed. It was a text from my wife, Sophia. "Working late again. I'll wait up for you." I let out a bitter laugh. I had no idea how to reply. Insult to injury. It was 3 in the afternoon when I got home. Sophia was on the couch reading. She looked up, surprised. "You're home early." I set the box down in the entryway. I was let go. The book slipped from her hands. "What? How is that possible?" she asked, getting to her feet. "You're their top engineer." I collapsed onto the sofa and told her everything. Halfway through, her expression hardened. "So, you're telling me you didn't even get severance?" Her voice was sharp. "They manufactured a cause. I'm going to file a complaint." "A lawsuit?" She scoffed. "Do you have any idea how long that will take? What about the mortgage? The car payments?" "I'll find another job. A better one." "Find a job?" She exploded. "Ethan, have you looked at the market? Every tech company is doing layoffs. You're 32. Who's going to hire an expensive, senior-level programmer when they can get a kid fresh out of college for half the price?" Her words were like daggers. "I have 8 years of experience, my skills." "Skills? What good are skills?" she interrupted. "Can they pay the bills? Can they pay our mortgage?" I stared at the woman in front of me. Was this the same gentle, supportive Sophia I had married? "You've been focused on getting that tenure-track position," I said, trying to calm her down. "Once you land it, we'll be fine." The mention of her academic career made her face darken even more. "I've been trying for 3 years. 3 years. Do you think it's easy? I've always supported you focusing on it full-time." "Supported me?" She laughed, a bitter, ugly sound. "Is that what you call it? Coming home every night complaining about how tired you are, never once asking about the pressure I'm under." And another thing," she said, taking a deep breath as if steeling herself. "Ethan, I want a divorce." The words hit me like a physical blow. "What did you say?" "A divorce," she repeated, her voice firm. "We don't connect anymore. We want different things." "Because I lost my job?" I asked, incredulous. "It's not just that," she said, looking away. "It's everything. You're always working. We've been married 5 years, and we don't even have kids. The doctor said it was my issue, that we could do IVF. Enough," she yelled. "I don't want to wait anymore. I am feti, etan. I've wasted my youth on you." "Wasted?" In her eyes, our life together was a waste. "Is there someone else?" The question came out of nowhere. Her face flushed. "Don't be ridiculous." "That guy from your department, Mark Jennings?" I stared her down. "Don't think I haven't noticed you two having lunch all the time. We're just colleagues," she said, a note of panic in her voice. "Unlike you, he actually asks how my day was. He listens to me." So that was it. An emotional affair, at the very least. Just then, the doorbell rang. Sophia answered it. It was her parents. "Honey," her mother said, rushing in and grabbing her hand. "Mark called us. He said you were upset." "What's wrong? Did Ethan do something to you?" "Mark, since when were they on a first-name basis with him?" Sophia's father saw me and scowled. "Ethan, is this how you take care of our daughter? Look how thin she's gotten." "Dad." "Don't dad me," he snapped. "We trusted you with our little girl, and this is what you do. I hear you got yourself fired, too." "It wasn't like that." "It's all the same," her mother said acidly. "A man in his 30s who can't even hold down a job. What a disgrace." "Mom," Sophia said, "I've already told him I want a divorce." "Good for you." Her mother shot back immediately. "Get rid of this deadweight. You can do so much better." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. 5 years ago, at our wedding, they couldn't stop singing my praises. I had just been promoted, my future shining bright. Their daughter, they told everyone, had married well. And now? "Sophia, honey," her father said in a solemn tone, "a divorce is fine, but you've given this man the best years of your life. We need to make sure the assets are divided fairly." "Exactly," her mother added. "The house was bought after you were married. You get half, and half the savings." I let out a hollow laugh. My parents paid the down payment on the house, and I've been making every single mortgage payment. She hasn't earned a dime in 3 years. "What did you just say?" Her mother shrieked. "What's wrong with my daughter focusing on her career? That was for the future of this family. And what about housework? Is that not labor? Does taking care of you count for nothing? When did she ever take care of me?" I finally snapped. "I cook the meals. We have a cleaning service. All she does is read her books and scroll through her phone." "You son of a bitch," her father roared. "How dare you speak to my daughter that way in her own home?" In the middle of the shouting match, my phone rang. It was my mom. "Ethan, honey, are you home?" Your father and I are just around the corner." 15 minutes later, my parents walked into a war zone. "Folks, please," my dad said, forcing a smile. "Let's all just talk this through. We're family." "Who's family with you?" Sophia's mother sneered. "Did you know your son got fired?" The color drained from my mother's face. "Ethan, what happened?" Before I could answer, Sophia jumped in. "I'm divorcing him." "Divorce?" My mom staggered back. "Why?" "Sophia, honey, did Ethan do something wrong?" I apologize on his behalf. "Mom," I cried out. "You be quiet." My dad hissed at me, then turned to Sophia. "Sophia, if Ethan's done anything to hurt you, I'm truly sorry. You've been married for 5 years. Surely you can work through this." "We can't," Sophia said, her voice devoid of emotion. "It's over." My mom, in a fit of desperation, did something I'll never forget. She fell to her knees. "Sophia, I'm begging you, please don't do this. Ethan loves you so much." "Mom," I rushed to help her up, but my dad grabbed my arm. "Get on your knees," he ordered in a low, furious voice. "Apologize to your wife." "For what?" I said, my neck stiff with pride. "I didn't do anything wrong." "You still don't get it?" my dad said, his voice shaking with a mix of anger and disappointment. "She's been with you for 5 years, and you can't even give her a child. What more is there to say?" The words pierced my heart. So that's what it came down to. In everyone's eyes, our infertility was my fault. My shame. Exactly. Sophia's mother piled on. "A man who can't even carry on the family name. What good is he?" My mother was still on the floor, tears streaming down her face. "Please, I'm begging you, just give him one more chance. We can sign the house over to Sophia. As compensation." "Mom," I exploded. "Are you crazy? That house was your life savings. As long as you two stay together. The house is nothing," she sobbed. "Well, that's a start," Sophia's mother said smugly. "But the house alone won't be enough." "Enough!" I roared, and the room fell silent. I pulled my mother to her feet. "Mom, stop begging them. If she wants a divorce, she can have it. I'd rather die than grovel like this." "You—" My dad's hand trembled with rage. "And you," I said, turning to Sophia's parents. "When you were sucking up to me, you didn't seem to think I was so worthless. Now that I've hit a rough patch, you can't get away fast enough." "Who sucked up to you?" her father blustered. "Really? You forget," I sneered. "Forget asking about my salary? Forget pushing us to get married so quickly. You—" "And Sophia," I said, looking at my wife, my ex-wife. "You want a divorce? Fine, but we'll divide the assets according to the law. The down payment came from my parents. You won't get a penny of the house equity. As for the savings, my paycheck has gone into your account for years. You can have it all." "You—" Her face went pale with fury. "Oh, and by the way," I added, a thought striking me. "You keep saying how much Mark understands you. I wish you two the best. But you should know, he was formally reprimanded years ago for inappropriate conduct with a student. He'll never get tenure. And you, a 30-year-old on a temporary contract, how long do you think the university will keep you around?" Sophia's face fell. "You investigated him?" "Didn't have to. The academic world is just as small as the tech world," I said calmly. "You think you were being discreet? People told me about you 2 months ago. I was just giving you a chance to be honest." "We're leaving," her mother yelled, pulling Sophia toward the door. "Wait," I said. "Leave the keys." Sophia ripped the keys from her purse and threw them on the floor before storming out. The living room was silent, except for my mother's quiet sobs. "Ethan, don't cry, Mom." I hugged her. "She's not worth it." "It's our fault," my dad said, slumping onto the sofa. "If we were richer, if we could have bought you a place in a better neighborhood outright." "Dad, this isn't on you," I said. "I'm the one who misjudged her character." That night, the three of us held each other and cried. Not for what we had lost, but for the ugly truth of human nature we had just seen. 3. The long shot. After my parents left, I sat alone in the silent, empty house. The city lights of Seattle began to glow outside my window. This place, where I'd built my life for 8 years, suddenly felt alien. 32, unemployed, and soon to be divorced. Was this it? No, I wouldn't accept it. I opened my laptop and started updating my resume. If they wanted to call me worthless, I would show them, and the rest of the world, what I was really made of. For the next week, I was a machine. I blasted out resumes, hounded recruiters, and pinged every contact in my network. Reality, however, hit me like a ton of bricks. Ethan, man, it's not you. It's the market. We're in a hiring freeze. Cole, your tech skills are solid, but you know how it is. Companies are looking for younger, cheaper talent right now. Your resume is impressive, Mr. Cole, but we need to discuss salary expectations. Your previous compensation was around $250K. The market rate for this role is now closer to. Sitting in a coffee shop across from a well-meaning but pessimistic recruiter, my hope began to curdle into despair. Honestly, Ethan, said the recruiter, a young woman named Kate, at your age and salary level, it's a tough sell right now. Have you ever considered starting your own thing? A startup? I laughed bitterly. That required capital and a team. I had neither. However, Kate leaned in, lowering her voice. I do have one opportunity. It's a bit of a long shot, but I'm not sure if you'd be interested. What is it? You know Stellar Solutions, right? Apex's main competitor. Their VP of engineering spot is open. Stellar Solutions. Of course I knew them. They were the scrappy, innovative rival to Apex's corporate behemoth, and they've been gaining ground fast. A VP role? I shook my head. I was just a director, and I just got fired. Why would they want me? Don't count yourself out yet, Kate said with a sly smile. Stellar CEO Leo Vance. I hear you two go way back. Leo Vance. A jolt went through me. We had worked together at a small startup years ago. We'd gone our separate ways, but we'd kept in touch sporadically. I never imagined that the brilliant, caffeine-fueled coder I knew back then was now the CEO of a publicly traded company. And, Kate continued, Stellar has its own problems right now. Their last VP, Greg Hoffman, went viral last month for a tirade about grindset culture and telling his employees that working weekends was a blessing. The backlash was huge. The company's image is trashed, morale is in the toilet, and they desperately need someone who knows both tech and people to clean up the mess. I was silent. It was an opportunity, a huge one, but I'll think about it. Back home, I found Leo's number in my contacts. After hesitating for a full 10 minutes, I sent a text. Leo, it's Ethan Cole. Long time. He replied almost instantly. Ethan, how have you been? Not great. I typed back with a grimace. Apex, just optimize me. A second later, my phone was ringing. Ethan, what the hell happened? Leo's voice was full of genuine shock. I thought you were untouchable over there. I gave him a short, ugly version. Frank Wagner is a goddamn parasite. Leo swore. He was a brown-nosing hack when he worked with us, too. I can't believe he's a VP now. They knew each other. Of course they did. Ethan, Leo said suddenly, you should come to Stellar. My heart hammered against my ribs. Leo, don't Leo me. We're old friends. He cut in. Honestly, we need someone exactly like you. That idiot Hoffman left a disaster in his wake, and I've been struggling to find the right person to take his place. But I was just fired from Apex. Won't that look bad? Look bad. Leo laughed. Getting fired from Apex is a badge of honor. It means you still have a soul. I can't stand those corporate zombies. What about compensation? VP level. 500,000 base, plus stock options, he said without hesitation. What do you say? Interested? 500,000. It was double what I was making at Apex. Leo, what I need to do? Simple. Help me rebuild the engineering team. And he paused. Help me crush Apex Innovations. 4. The comeback. April 1st, 2023. April Fool's Day. I started my new job as the Vice President of Engineering at Stellar Solutions. Leo Vance met me at the front door. Ethan, welcome aboard. As I walked through the open plan office, I could feel the curious stares of the employees. The ghost of the last VP and his hustle culture tirades still lingered in the air. Everyone was waiting to see what kind of leader I would be. Everyone listen up, Leo called out as we reached the engineering department. This is Ethan Cole, our new VP of engineering. Ethan spent 8 years at Apex and is one of the best minds in the industry. A lukewarm, scattered applause followed. They were skeptical. I couldn't blame them. Hi, everyone, I said with a relaxed smile. I know things have been turbulent lately, and you're probably wary of the new guy. I'll just say this. I'm here to solve problems, not create them. I heard some whispers from the back. And about the 80-hour work weeks, I continued. My position is simple. We work to live, not the other way around. I value efficiency over hours clocked. This time, the applause was noticeably warmer. Mr. Cole, a young engineer with glasses, raised his hand. Do you really mean that? No crunch time. I don't believe in perpetual crunch, I said firmly. But I do believe in high performance. Anyone who can deliver high-quality work in a standard 8-hour day won't just avoid overtime. They'll get bonuses. You could almost see the lights turn on in their eyes. For the next week, I didn't issue a single new directive. Instead, I sat down with every team, listening and learning. The root of the problem became clear. Greg Hoffman had been a taskmaster, not a leader. He knew how to squeeze hours out of people, but he didn't understand engineering management. The team structure was a mess. Responsibilities were vague, and countless hours were wasted in pointless meetings and creating reports nobody read. So, what's the verdict? Leo asked when we met later that week. The problems are significant, but fixable, I said, sliding a proposal across his desk. Phase 1, restructure the teams and clarify roles. Phase 2, eliminate all non-essential meetings and implement daily stand-ups. Phase 3, create a knowledge-sharing program to upskill the entire department. And I looked him in the eye. I need to fire a few people. Who? Hoffman's lieutenants. They're political players, not engineers, and they're poisoning the culture. Leo nodded. Do what you have to do. You have my full support. With that green light, I moved fast. First, the meetings. The daily 3-hour status report was replaced with a 15-minute standing meeting. 3 things only, I told them. What you did yesterday, what you're doing today, and what roadblocks you're facing. 2 minutes per person max. Next came the knowledge sharing. Every Friday afternoon became a dedicated tech talk where I brought in industry experts to share their insights. Investing in your skills is the best ROI, I said. The company will reimburse all learning expenses, books, online courses, certifications, you name it. But the biggest change was implementing a flexible work policy. Core hours are 10 to 4, I announced. Outside of that, your time is your own. As long as the work gets done, I don't care if you're in the office, at home, or on the moon. These policies sent a shockwave through the department. Mr. Cole, are you sure you came from Apex? One of the engineers joked. It feels more like you came from Google. I smiled. Apex taught me exactly how not to manage a team. That's how I know what works. The results were immediate. Within a month, the department's productivity had jumped by 50%, and our attrition rate dropped to 0. More importantly, the energy in the room was electric. Ethan, you're a miracle worker, Leo said, clapping me on the back. But now it's time for the real work. What's that? Stealing Apex's business, he said, a predatory glint in his eye. They're bidding on the Seattle Smart City project. It's a $50 million contract. We're going to take it from them. The Smart City project. I knew it intimately. At Apex, I had been the one leading the preliminary proposal. No problem, I said with a surge of confidence. You sure? 100%, I smiled. Apex's entire proposal is already in my head, and I know every single one of its weaknesses. 5. The showdown. The bid presentation was scheduled for May 20th. For a month, my team and I lived and breathed the project. But this wasn't the soul-crushing overtime of Apex. This was a mission. People were staying late because they wanted to. Ethan, I think I can optimize this database query. Hey, I found a new machine learning model that could boost our response time by 30%. Chief, I mocked up a new UI. Take a look. This passion, this drive, it was everything I had missed. Mr. Cole, my assistant, Maria, knocked on my door. A package for you. It looks official. I opened it. A summons from the court. Sophia had filed for divorce. Staring at the cold, legalistic text, I felt nothing. It was inevitable. Are you okay, Ethan? Maria asked, her voice full of concern. I'm fine, I said, tucking the papers into my drawer. Let's get back to work. On May 20th, I led the Stellar Solutions team into the boardroom at City Hall. We ran right into the team from Apex. Leading them was Frank Wagner. The moment he saw me, the blood drained from his face. Ethan, what are you doing here? Frank, good to see you, I said, extending a hand with a cool smile. He shook it reluctantly. His palm was clammy. Heard you landed at Stellar, he said, forcing a laugh. Doing okay for yourself? Thanks to you. I'm doing great. Good. His smile was a pained grimace. The presentations began. Apex went first. Watching their slides, I had to suppress a laugh. It was my proposal, the one I drafted before I was fired. They hadn't changed a single word. As you can see, esteemed panel, Frank said, oozing false confidence. Our solution utilizes a state-of-the-art distributed architecture. I quietly took notes, cataloging every flaw I already knew existed. I had created that plan 3 months ago under a tight deadline, leaving several technical challenges unresolved. It was clear they hadn't even found them yet. Then it was our turn. Good morning, I said, taking the stage. Before I present Stellar's proposal, I'd like to address a few potential issues with the plan you just saw. Frank's face went rigid. First, their proposed distributed architecture will suffer from data inconsistency under high concurrency, I said, clicking to a slide showing stress test simulations. As you can see from these results. Second, their security protocol has a significant vulnerability to SQL injection attacks. Third, their claimed 99% uptime is mathematically impossible with their current server redundancy plan because, with every point I made, Frank's face grew paler. The Apex engineers at his side were frantically flipping through their binders, but they had no answers, because these were the very problems I'd identified but hadn't had time to solve. Now, allow me to introduce Stellar's solution, I said, switching to our presentation. A solution designed from the ground up to address all of those challenges and more. For the next hour, I walked them through our architecture, our security measures, our performance optimizations, and our cost analysis. Every detail was polished, every claim backed by hard data. Finally, I concluded, we not only promise to deliver this project on time, but we will also provide 24/7 technical support post-launch and guarantee 99% uptime. If we fail to meet that metric, we will forfeit the entire year's service contract. The room erupted in applause. The panelists were conferring excitedly. They were clearly impressed. Mr. Cole, the lead panelist, asked, your proposal is exceptionally thorough, but your timeline is only 6 months. Are you certain you can deliver? I am, I said without a trace of doubt, because we have already completed 3 months of preliminary R&D on the core technologies. And I glanced at Frank. I am intimately familiar with the requirements of a project like this. The decision was announced on the spot. The contract was awarded to Stellar Solutions. As we were leaving, Frank ran to catch up with me. You did this on purpose, didn't you? He hissed. Business is business, Frank, I said, stopping to face him. May the best team win. You. Oh, and one more thing, I added. You might want to take a closer look at your engineering team. It's hard to fight a war when your soldiers don't know how to use their weapons. What's that supposed to mean? Nothing, I smiled. Just a friendly tip that Kevin's coding skills could use some work. Riding on coattails can only get you so far. Leaving Frank standing there, his face a mask of impotent rage, I walked away. This battle was mine. 6. The tables turned. News of the Smart City contract spread through the industry like wildfire. Stellar Solutions' stock price soared. Apex's, meanwhile, took its biggest nosedive since its IPO. Worse for them, with their technical flaws laid bare in a public forum, their reputation was in tatters. Several major clients began looking for an exit. My phone wouldn't stop ringing. Ethan, my man, congratulations. Dude, that was legendary. Mr. Cole, Ethan, we should grab lunch sometime. The same people who had ghosted me when I was unemployed were now falling over themselves to get in touch. I responded politely to all of them, but I knew the game. This is how the world works. Ethan, Leo said, slapping me on the back with a triumphant grin. Brilliant work. The board just approved a $100,000 bonus for you. Thanks, Leo. Don't thank me. You earned it, he said, then leaned in with a conspiratorial smile. And I've got more good news. Trouble in paradise over at Apex. Oh, Wagner's out, he said with undisguised glee. They fired him for losing the contract. And get this, the HR director, Sarah Jenkins, got the boot too. I felt a quiet sense of justice, but no joy. Their fate was a consequence of their own actions. It gets better, Leo whispered. The CEO of Apex, Arthur Sterling, called me personally. He wants to hire you back. My eyebrows shot up. Offered $2 million a year, plus a boatload of stock, Leo said. watching my reaction. You're not tempted, are you? I laughed. Leo, what do you think? Huh, I knew it, he roared. That old fox also asked me to pass along a message. He wants to meet with you, face to face. Arthur Sterling. He was a legend in the industry, a self-made man who built Apex from the ground up. I'll meet with him, I said. 3 days later, I was in a private dining room at a 5-star hotel. Arthur Sterling was already there. He was in his late 50s, but looked sharp and energetic in a tailored suit. Ethan, he said, standing and pouring me a cup of coffee himself. It's an honor to finally meet you. Mr. Sterling. Please, he smiled. There's no need for formalities. Honestly, I've wanted to meet you for years. I'd heard whispers about a brilliant young director in our engineering department, but foolishly, I never made the time to seek you out. I was just a director, sir. I wouldn't have been on your radar. Don't say that, he said, his expression turning serious. It was my failure of oversight. I allowed a man like Frank Wagner to rise to a position of power, and in doing so, I failed the company, and I failed you. So, this was an apology tour. Mr. Sterling, what's done is done. It can't be, he said with conviction. Ethan, on behalf of Apex Innovations, I apologize. And I want to ask you to come back. Sir, don't say no just yet, he said, pushing a folder across the table. This is our offer. $3 million a year. President of Engineering, reporting directly to me. Furthermore, we will reinstate your original start date for seniority purposes, and all your unvested stock options will be granted immediately. $3 million. The number hung in the air, and he continued, Wagner, Jenkins, and all of their cronies are gone. I've cleaned house. You would have a fresh start. Mr. Sterling, I appreciate the very generous offer, I said, pushing the folder back. But what? But I'm not the same man I was when I worked for you, I said, meeting his gaze. Back then, I needed the job. I needed the validation. Now, I have better options. Whatever Stellar is paying you, I'll double it. It's not about the money, I shook my head. It's about trust. Mr. Sterling, if Apex hadn't lost that contract, would you even know my name? He was silent. The problem at Apex isn't one or two bad apples, I continued. It's the system, the bureaucracy, the politics, the cronyism. Firing a few people won't fix the culture. You're right, he sighed. And that's precisely why I need someone like you to help me change it. I'm sorry, Mr. Sterling, I said, standing up. But I've already bled for one corporate reformation. I'm not interested in another. Ethan, however, I added, as a former employee, I can offer you one piece of advice. I'm listening. You have a manager in engineering named David Shun. He's a brilliant talent, but Wagner kept him down. And there's a woman named Lucy in QA and a product manager named Omar. These are the people who can save Apex. He nodded slowly, taking it in. As I was leaving, he said one last thing. Ethan, the door at Apex will always be open for you. I smiled but didn't reply. Some doors, once closed, should stay that way. 7. Closing a chapter on the way back from the hotel, I got a call from my lawyer. Ethan, the divorce hearing is set for next week. We need to prepare. What I need to do, it's mainly about the division of assets. She's demanding half the value of the house and half the savings, claiming it's all community property. My parents made the down payment on the house. I have the bank statements to prove it, and I've made every single mortgage payment myself. She didn't contribute anything. We can definitely argue that. But the savings account. The savings are in an account she controls. My entire salary was direct deposited into it, I said with a grimace. Whatever I can get back is fine. Understood. One more thing. She's also claiming emotional distress. On what grounds? She's alleging long-term emotional neglect, claiming it led to a depressive episode. I almost laughed out loud. Neglect? I worked myself to the bone, came home, cooked dinner, and managed the household. That was neglect. Does she have proof? A diagnosis from a therapist's office. But my lawyer paused. The clinic has a questionable reputation. We can petition for an independent evaluation. Don't bother, I said, shaking my head. Let her have what she wants. All I care about is the house. Ethan, are you sure? Legally, you're entitled to. I'm sure, I interrupted. I'm in a position to start over. She isn't. Just consider it the price of a lesson learned. On the day of the hearing, I saw Sophia for the first time in 2 months. She had lost weight. Her face was drawn, and there were dark circles under her eyes. When our eyes met, she quickly looked away. "Ethan," she mumbled. I just nodded. In the courtroom, her lawyer delivered a dramatic performance, listing my alleged sins: emotional distance, career obsession, causing his client psychological trauma. I listened silently, my heart a calm sea. The accusations were so absurd, but I had no energy left to fight them. "Does the respondent have anything to say?" the judge asked. My lawyer stood. "Your Honor, we agree to the divorce, but we contest the division of property." "Wait," I stood up. "Your Honor, I waive my right to any of the liquid assets. I only ask that the house be awarded to me." The courtroom was stunned into silence. "Mr. Cole, are you certain?" the judge asked. "The financial statements indicate the savings account holds nearly $200,000. "I'm certain." Sophia looked up, her eyes wide with disbelief. Her lawyer was equally shocked, probably not used to such an easy win. In the end, the judge granted the divorce. The house was mine, the money was hers. As I walked out of the courthouse, Sophia ran after me. "Ethan, wait." I stopped. "Is there something else?" "Why? Why did you give up the money?" she asked, biting her lip. "You worked so hard for it." "The past is the past," I said evenly. "I hope you find what you're looking for." Are you doing okay?" "Thanks to you, I'm doing great. I heard you went to Stellar, that you're a VP now." "That's right." "Well, congratulations." "Thank you," I said, checking my watch. "If that's all, I have to get going." "Ethan," she called out, her voice cracking. "I'm sorry." I turned back to look at the woman I once loved more than life itself. "Don't be. We weren't wrong for each other. We were just wrong. But if I hadn't..." "There are no ifs." I cut her off gently. "Look forward, Sophia, not back." I walked away without another word. I could hear her start to cry, but her tears were no longer my concern. 8. A new beginning life after the divorce was surprisingly peaceful. Without the constant tension and arguments, my mind felt clear. I started working out again, reading for pleasure, and diving into new technologies in my spare time. I felt like myself for the first time in years. People at work noticed the change. "Ethan, you're looking great," Maria said. "Good things happening." "You could say that," I smiled, shedding some dead weight. Under my leadership, Stellar's engineering department became a powerhouse. The Smart City project was ahead of schedule, and we landed several other major contracts. The company's valuation doubled, and we were gearing up for a new round of funding. "Ethan, the board wants to promote you," Leo told me one day, a grin spreading across his face. "Promote me? I'm already a VP, Senior Vice President. You'll oversee all of technology and product development," he said, clapping my shoulder. "Annual salary of $1 million, and we're doubling your stock options." I was floored. It had been just over 6 months since I was unceremoniously kicked out of Apex. In that time, my net worth had increased tenfold. "What's wrong?" "Not enough," Leo joked. "No, it's just..." I shook my head. "It feels unreal." "It's real, and you've earned every penny," he said seriously. "Ethan, before you came, I was seriously considering selling the company. You didn't just save Stellar, you resurrected it." Just then, his assistant knocked. "Mr. Vance, the team from Nexus Ventures is here." Nexus Ventures, one of the biggest VCs in the country. They were interested in leading our next funding round. In the conference room, I saw a familiar face. "Isabel." "Ethan, good to see you," she said, shaking my hand with a warm, confident smile. Isabel Garcia, a senior partner at Nexus, and one of the sharpest minds in tech investment. We'd met once at a conference and had a great conversation. "I had no idea you were leading this deal," I said. "And I had no idea you were the genius behind Stellar's turnaround," she countered with a wink. "This should be a productive partnership." It was more than productive. Isabel was brilliant, professional, and had a deep understanding of the tech. The negotiations were smooth and collaborative. "Your technical roadmap is one of the most compelling I've seen," she said, closing her binder. "I'll be recommending this deal to our board with my full endorsement." "Thank you, Isabel." "Call me Izzy," she smiled. "Ethan, are you free for dinner tonight? I'd love to pick your brain about the future of AI, off the record." I met her gaze. "I like that very much." We went to a high-end sushi restaurant. The conversation flowed easily from work to travel, books, and life. "So, I hear you're single, Mr. Cole," she said at one point. a playful glint in her eye. Recently divorced, I admitted. I'm sorry. Don't be, I said, raising my glass of scotch. To the past. To the future, she replied, clinking her glass against mine. After that night, we started seeing each other regularly. We debated tech trends, shared industry gossip, and occasionally went to the movies or for a hike. Ethan, you've got a certain glow about you lately, Leo teased. Do I? It's not subtle, he laughed. What's her name? I just smiled. Being with Izzy felt different. She was independent, ambitious, and fiercely intelligent. We could argue about algorithmic efficiency for hours, then sit in comfortable silence, each reading our own book. It was a partnership of equals, a connection I'd never experienced with Sophia. 9. An unexpected encounter time flew. Before I knew it, it was the end of the year. Stellar's holiday party was a massive gala. We weren't just celebrating a record-breaking year. We were celebrating the strategic investment from Nexus Ventures that had cemented our place at the top of the industry. As the architect of the turnaround, I was the man of the hour. And now, please join me in congratulating our Employee of the Year, Senior Vice President of Technology, Ethan Cole. Standing on the stage, bathed in applause, I felt a surge of emotion. A year ago, I was pulling another all-nighter at Apex, grinding for a bonus that was never guaranteed. Ethan, a few words? The MC asked, handing me the microphone. Thank you, everyone, I said, taking a deep breath. A year ago, I hit rock bottom. Stellar gave me a chance to start over. What I want to say is never give up. You never know what's waiting for you around the corner. The applause was deafening. I saw Izzy in the front row, giving me a proud thumbs up. Later, at the reception, I was chatting with some partners when I saw her. Sophia, what's she doing here? She was with a senior colleague from the university, clearly trying to network for a potential partnership. Our eyes met across the crowded room, and she froze. I gave a polite nod and started to turn away. Ethan, Mr. Cole, she called out. Ms. Adams, I replied, using her maiden name. She bit her lip. Congratulations. Thank you. My department at the university is interested in partnering with Stellar on a new civic tech initiative. You should speak with our business development team, I said, my tone professional and distant. I know it's just. She took a shaky breath. Ethan, can we talk? Privately, I glanced at my watch. I'm sorry, I have another meeting. Please. 5 minutes, she pleaded. We ended up on the hotel's terrace, the chilly night air a stark contrast to the warmth of the party inside. What did you want to talk about? You look really happy, she said. I am. Ethan, I know you must hate me. I don't hate you, I interrupted. Honestly, not at all. Then, Sophia, I said, looking at her directly, we're divorced. We have separate lives now. It's best to leave the past in the past. Mark and we broke up, she blurted out. I raised an eyebrow, but said nothing. You were right about him, she said with a bitter laugh. I was so stupid. We all make mistakes. The university isn't renewing my contract either, she said, her voice trembling. They said it was a funding issue, but I know it's because of Mark. You'll find something else. Ethan, she looked up, her eyes filled with tears. If I hadn't done what I did, do you think we could have? There are no ifs, I said, my voice gentle but firm. Look forward, Sophia. But Ethan, a smooth voice called out. There you are. Izzy walked over, linking her arm through mine with an easy intimacy. Leo's looking for you. Sophia stared at Izzy, then at our linked arms, and all the color drained from her face. And who is this? Izzy asked politely. An old acquaintance, I said. We should go. As we walked away, I glanced back. Sophia was standing alone in the cold, a solitary figure against the glittering city lights. I felt a fleeting pang of something, pity perhaps, but it vanished as quickly as it came. Some people are only meant to be a chapter in your life, not the whole story. 10. The final play of the new year brought a new dynamic to the market. Apex, bleeding clients and talent, saw its stock price plummet, leading to a shakeup on its board. Stellar, meanwhile, was on a rocket ship, rapidly consuming Apex's market share. Ethan, this is our chance, Leo said, his eyes gleaming. Apex is looking to sell off its cloud services division. Should we buy it? Cloud services, the very division I had built from scratch at Apex. If the price is right, absolutely. I've already scheduled a meeting with Arthur Sterling. Tomorrow. The next day, we were back in the same five-star hotel. Arthur Sterling looked 10 years older. His hair was grayer, the lines on his face deeper. "Ethan, we meet again," he said with a weary smile. "Mr. Sterling, let's dispense with the pleasantries," he said, waving a hand. "You won." This was never about winning or losing. "No, you're right," he sighed. "It's about me getting old and losing touch." The negotiation was straightforward. Apex was desperate for cash, and their asking price was more than fair. But Sterling had one condition. "I want Stellar to retain all the employees from the cloud division," he said. "They're good people. They were just mismanaged. They were held back by bad leadership. I finished for him." "Yes," he said, looking down in shame. "I agree to your terms," I said. "Not only will we retain them, we'll give them all raises." Sterling looked at me, surprised. "Why?" "Because I know what it feels like to be overlooked," I said simply. "Everyone deserves a second chance." After the papers were signed, Sterling brought up the past one last time. "Wagner and Jenkins," he said. "I didn't just fire them. I had them blacklisted in the industry." "There, Mr. Sterling," I cut in. "It's over. You don't want to know what happened to them." "No," I shook my head. "They got what they deserved. That's enough." "Ethan," he said suddenly, "if I could go back in time, I never would have let it happen. There are no do-overs in life." "No, there aren't," he said, standing and extending his hand. "I wish you all the best." "You too." After the acquisition, I personally went to the old Apex office, now a Stellar Solutions office, to address my former team. Seeing their familiar faces, I was filled with a sense of coming full circle. "Everyone, starting today, you're all part of the Stellar family." "Ethan," someone shouted from the back. "It's really you." "David, good to see you," I said, recognizing my former top engineer. "Chief, we've been hoping you'd come back for us." "I didn't come back for you," I smiled. "You came over to us. And I promise you, at Stellar, your talent will never be wasted." The integration was a massive success. With the addition of my old cloud division, Stellar became an unstoppable force. 6 months later, our market cap officially surpassed Apex's. We were the new kings of the hill, and I was promoted from SVP to co-CEO. "Ethan," Leo joked, "if you keep this up, I'm going to be out of a job." "Never, Leo." "I'm serious," he said, his expression changing. "The board is already talking about it. They want you to take over as sole CEO. I'll move to chairman." I was stunned. "Don't look so surprised. You earned this," he said, clapping me on the shoulder. "In 1 year, you went from being unemployed and tossed aside to the CEO of the hottest company in the industry. Ethan, you're a legend." "A legend?" I looked out the window at the Seattle skyline and thought back. 11. Rising from the ashes and epilogue. In the summer of 2024, Izzy and I were married on a beach in Maui. It was a small ceremony, just close friends and family. "Ethan Cole," Izzy said, squeezing my hand. "Thank you for letting me find you." "Thank you," I replied, "for making me believe again." My parents were there, the anxious lines finally gone from their faces. "Son," my mom said, wiping away a tear, "I'm so proud of you." "I'm sorry I worried you, Mom." "Never," she said, beaming. "I always knew you were the best." During the reception, I received an unexpected text message from a number I didn't have saved. It was Sophia, wishing you a lifetime of happiness. "Thank you for your grace. It taught me how to grow up." I thought for a moment, then typed back, "I hope you find your own happiness, too." I put the phone away and looked at Izzy, my heart full of a quiet, profound gratitude. I was grateful for the twists of fate that had brought me here. Grateful for the people who hurt me, because they made me stronger. Grateful for the people who helped me, because they showed me the power of kindness. "What are you thinking about?" Izzy asked. "I'm thinking," I said, taking her hand, "that sometimes you have to lose everything to find something better." She smiled, and her smile was brighter than the Hawaiian sun. When we got back to the mainland, I heard a strange piece of news. Frank Wagner and Sarah Jenkins had started a small consulting firm. Their specialty? Corporate workshops on how to prevent toxic workplace culture. The irony was staggering. "Want to make a few calls and shut them down?" Leo asked. "No," I shook my head. "Let them be. Everyone has the right to reinvent themselves. You're a better man than I am." "It's not about being better," I said. It's about letting go. Holding on to hate is like drinking poison and waiting for the other person to die. At the end of 2024, Stellar Solutions went public on the NASDAQ. Our valuation soared past $10 billion. Standing on the podium for the opening bell ceremony, surrounded by the roar of the trading floor, I felt strangely calm. Below me, Izzy gave me a thumbs up. My parents were crying tears of joy. Leo and the rest of our team were cheering wildly. My mind drifted back to a rainy day 2 years earlier, to a man carrying a cardboard box out of an office building, his world in ruins. Who would have thought that man, abandoned and broken, would end up here? "Mr. Cole, do you have any words for our investors?" a reporter asked. I looked into the camera and spoke from the heart. "I want to say something to everyone out there who's at rock bottom right now. Don't give up. You are worthy of a better story. The people and circumstances that broke you will one day become the foundation of your success. Trust that the sun will come out again. And when it does, you will be your own hero." The applause was like thunder. At that moment, I knew I had finally made it. Not for anyone else, but for myself. I, Ethan Cole, was worthy, and this was just the beginning.